Have you ever looked back on a year and felt like it was completely wasted? Like all your efforts, plans, and dreams fell apart, leaving you with nothing but regret? What if I told you that your wasted year wasn't really wasted, but part of a divine plan for a miraculous comeback? In the next few moments, I'm going to reveal 7 powerful signs that God is about to restore everything you thought you lost. These signs aren't just ordinary, they're life-changing. When you recognize them, you'll understand that restoration is closer than you think. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear could be the key to turning your life around. The first sign that God is about to restore your wasted year is an unexplainable peace in the midst of chaos. Now, this peace is not the kind that the world gives. It's not the absence of trouble or a sign that everything in your life is suddenly perfect. No, this peace is something much deeper. It's a divine tranquility that floods your soul even when all around you things are falling apart. This peace is not based on external circumstances, but on the presence of God within you. It's the kind of peace that Philippians 4:7 talks about, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Let's go deeper into this sign. You see, when God is getting ready to restore what you've lost, He first prepares your heart. Restoration doesn't begin with your finances, your career, or even your relationships. It begins inside of you. And that's why the first sign you experience is peace, because God knows you can't handle restoration until you're at peace with where you are. This peace comes when you finally let go of trying to control everything and surrender to His will. It's a supernatural assurance that even though you can't see how things will work out, you trust that God is already working behind the scenes. You might be wondering, how can you have peace when everything around you is chaotic? When you've lost a year, maybe more, of your life to setbacks, failures, and missed opportunities? The answer is simple. God's peace isn't dependent on what you've lost. It's a sign of what's coming. It's God's way of telling you that He's about to restore everything that was stolen from you. That peace is the anchor for your soul when the storm is raging. Remember the story of Jesus in the boat with His disciples in Mark 4:39? The storm was raging, the disciples were panicking, but Jesus was asleep, completely at peace. And when He got up, He simply spoke to the storm, "Peace, be still." That's the kind of peace you'll experience when restoration is on the horizon. It's not a peace that makes sense to the people around you. In fact, they may even wonder how you can be so calm when your world seems to be in chaos. But that's exactly the point. This peace is a divine signal that God is with you, that He's in control, and that your wasted year is about to become your greatest testimony. When you feel this unexplainable peace, know that it's the first sign that restoration is near. God is not only going to calm the storm around you, He's preparing to use it to bring you into a season of greater blessings and purpose. The second sign that God is about to restore your wasted year is when doors of opportunity begin to open, opportunities you didn't even chase. This is one of the clearest ways God signals to you that He's moving in your life. Suddenly, doors that seemed locked for years start swinging open effortlessly. But here's the key: these opportunities aren't the result of your striving, your networking, or your own ability. They come directly from God's divine favor. Let's dive deeper into this sign. When God is preparing to restore what you've lost, He orchestrates events in your life in ways that you could never plan on your own. These opportunities are not random, they are divine appointments. You didn't go knocking on these doors, but somehow they opened for you. You weren't chasing after these connections, but people suddenly seek you out. This is a reminder that God's hand is at work, and He's positioning you for something greater than what you thought you lost. Think of Joseph in the Bible. After spending years in prison, a place where it seemed like all hope was lost, one moment changed his entire life. He didn't chase after the opportunity to stand before Pharaoh. He didn't network his way into the palace. No, it was God who arranged that moment of favor. Genesis 41:14 says, "So Pharaoh sent for Joseph, and he was quickly brought from the dungeon." That's how quickly things can turn around when God decides to open doors for you. You go from the dungeon to the palace, not because of anything you did, but because God's timing for your restoration has arrived. This is a critical point. When you stop chasing after things in your own strength, that's when God starts moving on your behalf. When he opens a door, no man can shut it. Revelation 3:8. You may have spent the last year or even longer trying to force things to happen, pushing your plans forward only to meet constant resistance. But when God is about to restore your wasted year, he brings opportunities that don't require the same kind of struggle. These opportunities flow effortlessly because they are part of his plan for your restoration. Another important aspect of this sign is the fact that these opportunities often align with your calling or purpose in ways you didn't expect. You may have been focused on one path, only to find that God opens a door in a completely different direction, one that turns out to be even more aligned with your true purpose. This is God's way of not just restoring, but expanding your reach and your influence. So when you begin to see doors opening that you didn't chase after, don't hesitate. Recognize it as a sign that God is about to restore everything you thought was lost. These opportunities are his way of accelerating your journey forward, bringing you into a season of favor and fulfillment that you couldn't have imagined. Stay ready, because God is about to do something beyond your wildest dreams. The third sign that God is about to restore your wasted year is the alignment of divine connections. When God is ready to bring restoration into your life, he doesn't just work through circumstances, he works through people. Divine connections are the people God sends into your life at the right time for the right purpose. These aren't just casual acquaintances, these are individuals strategically placed by God to help you move into the next season of your destiny. Let's go deeper into this sign. Divine connections don't happen by accident. They are orchestrated by God to fulfill a specific role in your journey. When you spent a year or more feeling like you're stuck or wasted, God often uses people to open doors that you can't open on your own. These connections can come in the form of mentors, friends, colleagues, or even strangers. But the key is that they carry something you need to move forward. It could be wisdom, resources, influence, or simply encouragement, but whatever they carry is essential to your restoration. Now, let's look at how divine connections worked in the Bible. One of the most powerful examples is found in the story of David and Jonathan. Jonathan was the son of King Saul, the man who was trying to kill David. Yet, in a divine twist, Jonathan became David's closest friend and protector. 1 Samuel 18:1 says, "The soul of Jonathan was knit with the soul of David, and Jonathan loved him as his own soul." Jonathan's loyalty and love for David were not just a matter of personal friendship, it was a divine connection designed by God to protect David and secure his destiny. Without Jonathan's help, David might not have survived Saul's pursuit, let alone become king. When divine connections start aligning, it's often the people you least expect who play the most pivotal roles. These individuals might not even come from your usual circle. They may come from places you never considered, and they bring solutions you never imagined. You didn't go searching for them, just as with the opportunities you didn't chase. God brings them into your life at the appointed time, because he knows exactly what you need. What's amazing about divine connections is that they are mutually beneficial. When God brings someone into your life for a divine purpose, the relationship is not just about what they can do for you, it's also about what you can do for them. It's a partnership where both of you are being prepared and positioned for greater purpose. That's how God works. He weaves our lives together with others to create something more powerful than we could ever achieve alone. Another critical point is that these divine connections often come at a time when you've been feeling isolated or abandoned. You may have spent the past year feeling like no one understands your struggle, like you've been walking alone to disappointment. But when God is ready to restore your wasted year, he sends the right people at the right time to remind you that you're not alone. These connections will give you the support, encouragement, and partnership you need to step into your next season with confidence. When divine connections start aligning in your life, know that it's not just a coincidence. It's the third sign that restoration is on the horizon. God is putting the right people in place to help you fulfill your destiny. These relationships will be crucial as you step into your restored future, and they will provide the strength, wisdom, and resources you need to rebuild everything that was lost. Keep your heart open, because God is about to send people into your life who will play a significant role in your journey to restoration. The fourth sign that God is about to restore your wasted year is the sudden clarity and renewed sense of purpose that floods your heart and mind. After months, or perhaps years of feeling lost or uncertain, something shifts. You wake up one day and it's as if the fog lifts. The confusion that clouded your mind begins to disappear, and for the first time in a long time, you know exactly what God is calling you to do. This clarity is not born out of your own effort, but from God's divine timing, signaling that restoration is near. Let's take this deeper. In many cases, when a season feels wasted, it's not just the loss of time or opportunities that weighs on us, it's the loss of direction. You might have tried multiple paths, chased different goals, and yet found yourself stuck, wondering if you even have a purpose anymore. But when God steps in to restore your year, one of the first things He does is to give you fresh vision. He aligns your heart with His purpose and gives you a clear picture of where He's leading you next. This sudden clarity is a key sign that God is about to redeem the time you thought was lost. Think of Moses in the wilderness. For 40 years he lived in Midian, away from the purpose he once thought he had in Egypt. But then suddenly in Exodus 3, God speaks to Moses through the burning bush, giving him a clear and powerful sense of purpose. God tells him, "I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt," Exodus 3:10. Moses, who had been wandering without direction, suddenly has a divine mission, and the years he spent in the wilderness are redeemed as part of God's greater plan. Sudden clarity isn't just about knowing what to do next, it's about understanding why God allowed the wasted year in the first place. When God restores your wasted year, He often reveals that what seemed like a delay was actually preparation. The things you thought were setbacks were in fact setups for a greater purpose. This understanding fills you with renewed passion and energy to pursue your calling with confidence and determination. In this moment of clarity, you'll notice that distractions begin to fall away. The things that once consumed your time and energy no longer seem important. Your focus sharpens, and you find yourself drawn to what truly matters. This is a sure sign that God is aligning your steps with His will. You'll start to see the connections between past experiences, even the painful ones, and the future He's leading you into. It's as if all the pieces of the puzzle suddenly fit together, and you can finally see the bigger picture. This renewed sense of purpose also comes with an undeniable urgency. You no longer feel like you're wasting time or drifting aimlessly. Instead, there's a sense that the time is now, that God is moving swiftly to bring about the restoration He promised. This urgency is God's way of prompting you to act, to seize the moment, and to walk boldly in the purpose He set before you. When you experience this sudden clarity and purpose, know that it is the fourth sign of your restoration. It's not just about gaining vision, it's about realigning your heart with God's perfect will. He's clearing away the confusion, giving you a sense of divine focus, and propelling you into the next chapter of your life with purpose and passion. God doesn't just restore the years you thought were wasted, He redeems them for something far greater than you ever imagined. Trust this clarity, because it's a divine signal that your wasted year is about to become your most fruitful one. The fifth sign that God is about to restore your wasted year is when old obstacles mysteriously disappear. This is a profound indicator of divine intervention and restoration. Obstacles that once seemed insurmountable, problems that blocked your path and consumed your energy, suddenly begin to dissolve or vanish without any apparent explanation. It's as if the very barriers that stood in your way are being removed by a power beyond your own. Let's delve deeper into this sign. When God is preparing to restore what you thought was lost, He often works behind the scenes to clear the path ahead of you. These obstacles may have seemed permanent, whether they were financial struggles, relational issues, or professional setbacks. But when restoration is on the horizon, God begins to dismantle these barriers. They disappear not because of your efforts, but because of His divine grace and timing. Consider the story of the walls of Jericho in the Bible. The Israelites faced a seemingly impenetrable obstacle, an entire city fortified with massive walls. Yet in Joshua 6:20 we read, when the trumpet sounded, the people shouted, and at the sound of the trumpet, when the people gave a loud shout, the wall collapsed, the walls didn't fall due to any conventional method of warfare. They fell because God intervened directly. This dramatic removal of the obstacle was a clear sign of God's favor and a precursor to the Israelites taking possession of the land. In your life, these disappearing obstacles can manifest in various forms. Perhaps you've faced long-standing financial troubles, and out of nowhere, an unexpected opportunity or resource appears, resolving the issue. Maybe you've been struggling with a relationship that seemed impossible to mend, and suddenly the dynamics change for the better, with reconciliation happening effortlessly. These occurrences are not coincidences, they are divine acts of restoration. Another aspect of this sign is that the removal of these obstacles often brings a sense of relief and freedom. You'll find that you can now move forward without the weight of these problems holding you back. It's as if a burden has been lifted and you're able to pursue your goals with renewed energy and focus. This is God's way of showing you that He's not only restoring what you lost, but also removing anything that would hinder your progress. When old obstacles mysteriously disappear, it's a sign that God is making way for new opportunities and advancements. It's a clear message that He's been working on your behalf, aligning circumstances and preparing the way for your next steps. The ease with which these obstacles vanish is a testament to His power and a reminder that nothing is too difficult for God. So when you see these barriers dissolving before your eyes, recognize it as the fifth sign of restoration. It's a divine signal that God is not only clearing your path, but also setting the stage for the fulfillment of His promises in your life. Embrace this sign with gratitude and faith, knowing that the obstacles of your past are being removed to make way for the blessings and opportunities that lie ahead. The sixth sign that God is about to restore your wasted year is the remarkable restoration of lost time and resources. When God is ready to bring restoration into your life, He doesn't just replace what you lost, He multiplies it. The time you thought was wasted and the resources that seemed irretrievably lost are not just returned, they are given back in abundance, exceeding your expectations. This restoration isn't merely a return to where you were, it's an elevation to where you were meant to be. Let's explore this sign more deeply. Restoration of lost time and resources is a profound demonstration of God's ability to redeem what was seemingly gone forever. You might have spent years in struggle or stagnation, believing that the time and energy you invested were in vain. But when God intervenes, He shows that no time is truly wasted when it is surrendered to Him. He has the power to bring about a restoration that not only compensates for what you lost, but also accelerates your progress. Consider the story of Job in the Bible. Job experienced unimaginable loss. His wealth, his health, and even his children were taken from him. Yet, after enduring this period of intense suffering and maintaining his faith, Job was restored. Job 42:10 says, "The Lord restored his fortunes and gave him twice as much as he had before." This wasn't just a simple restoration of what was lost. Job received twice as much, demonstrating how God can restore and then some. The principle here is clear. God doesn't just give back what was lost, He blesses beyond what you could have anticipated. The restoration of time and resources is often accompanied by a sudden acceleration in your achievements and productivity. You may find that opportunities and advancements that once seemed out of reach are now coming to you effortlessly. Resources that were previously scarce are suddenly abundant. This is God's way of demonstrating that His restoration is not limited by human constraints. When He restores, He does so with His divine generosity and abundance. Moreover, this restoration often involves not just financial or material resources, but also relational and emotional healing. Relationships that were strained or lost during the period of waste begin to be mended, and emotional wounds are healed. God's restoration is holistic, touching every area of your life where you experience loss. This comprehensive restoration is a testament to His power and love. Another important aspect of this sign is that it brings a new level of wisdom and understanding. As God restores lost time and resources, He also provides you with insights and lessons learned from your previous experiences. This wisdom enables you to manage your restored blessings more effectively and to avoid the pitfalls that led to past losses. So when you start to see the restoration of lost time and resources, recognize it as the sixth sign of divine restoration. It's not merely about getting back what was lost, but about receiving a multiplied and accelerated blessing that propels you into a new season of fulfillment and success. Embrace this sign with faith and gratitude, knowing that God's restoration is abundant and far exceeds what you could have imagined. Your wasted years being transformed into a time of unparalleled blessing and growth. The seventh and final sign that God is about to restore your wasted year is a profound and unmistakable sense of divine timing. This is a deep inner knowing that the season of restoration is not just imminent, but that it is precisely the right time for it to unfold. It's as if everything in your life aligns perfectly with God's perfect plan, and you begin to see that every moment of waiting, every period of delay, was meticulously orchestrated for this precise moment. Let's dive into the depth of this sign. Divine timing isn't about human schedules or plans, it's about God's perfect alignment of events and circumstances. When God is preparing to restore your wasted year, He doesn't act hastily. Instead, He works according to His own timetable, which is always precise and flawless. You may have spent years feeling as though you were waiting in vain, but divine timing reveals that every delay, every period of stagnation, was part of His meticulous plan to bring about a greater good. A powerful biblical illustration of divine timing is found in the story of Esther. Esther was an orphan Jewish girl who became Queen of Persia. Her rise to prominence seemed like a series of fortunate events, but it was all part of God's perfect timing. When her people faced the threat of annihilation, Esther was positioned to make a pivotal move. In Esther 4:14, Mordecai says to her, "And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" This verse highlights how Esther's seemingly random circumstances and delays were actually part of God's divine timing, positioning her for a critical role in saving her people. When you experience a deep sense of divine timing, you'll find that everything starts to fall into place with remarkable ease. Opportunities you once thought were out of reach are suddenly within your grasp. Relationships that were strained or distant begin to reconcile. Resources you needed appear just when you need them. This perfect alignment isn't coincidental, it's the result of God's careful planning and timing. Furthermore, this sense of divine timing brings with it a profound peace and confidence. You'll begin to understand that the waiting wasn't wasted. Instead, it was a period of preparation and positioning. This realization helps you to trust in God's plan and to move forward with assurance, knowing that He has been working behind the scenes all along. It's a divine assurance that what you're stepping into is exactly what you were meant for, and the timing is perfect. Another aspect of divine timing is that it often comes with a renewed sense of urgency and purpose. Once you perceive that the time for restoration has arrived, you'll feel a compelling drive to act, to seize the moment, and to pursue your calling with renewed vigor. This sense of urgency is not about rushing or forcing things, but about recognizing and stepping into the moment that God has prepared for you. So, when you experience this deep sense of divine timing, recognize it as the seventh sign of restoration. It's a clear message that God's plan is coming to fruition, and the time for your restoration is now. Embrace this moment with faith and gratitude, knowing that the waiting has been worth it and that God's perfect timing is setting the stage for a season of unprecedented blessing and fulfillment. Your wasted years being transformed into a powerful testimony of God's timing of restoration. As we conclude today, I want to remind you that the signs of God's restoration are not just random occurrences, they are divine indicators that He is at work, bringing about a profound transformation in your life. From the unexplainable peace in chaos to opportunities opening up effortlessly, divine connections aligning, and sudden clarity emerging, each sign points to the fact that God is about to restore what you've lost and even exceed your expectations. The removal of old obstacles, the restoration of lost time and resources, and a deep sense of divine timing all affirm that your season of waiting has not been in vain. God's plan is unfolding perfectly, and He is preparing to bless you beyond measure. Thank you all for joining me today and for listening to this message. I hope it has inspired you and renewed your faith in God's power to restore and elevate. May you step forward with hope and anticipation for the incredible restoration that lies ahead. Thank you.
God is a covenant